Live on a Wednesday. It's the 11th of June. Welcome inside the vault for a Ravens Lunch Hour live stream. I'm your host, Bobby Trossett. My co-host and business partner, Sarah Ellison, continues to enjoy her time off. And I've been following along on Instagram. I know some of you have been following along in the Twitter space. She and her daughter, London, appear to be having a blast. And obviously, that is very much deserving. She'll be back on Monday is the current scheduled plan. But today is brought to you by our friends at Baltimore County Golf. It's our newest brand sponsor. And right now, if you haven't entered in to our giveaway that we're doing, it's a Father's Day special. I would highly encourage you to do so if you're a fan of golf or if you have somebody to gift for Father's Day. Right now, if you go to the link that's included in the show notes and also as a pinned comment in the live chat, you can be entered in to win $350 in credit towards the purchase of a new golf club or clubs at the Fox Hollow Training Center in Baltimore County. On top of that, they're going to give you, if you win, a 30-minute custom fitting to guarantee you get the best club for feel, for fit, so on and so forth. So go check it out. It's baltimoregolfing.com/the vault. You can find it in a couple different places in the show notes as a pinned comment. And shout out to our sponsor. It's U.S. Open week. For you, those of you who are golf fans, you already know it's a big one. And obviously it's a big weekend as well, being that it's Father's Day. Over the course of the next hour or so, I'm going to get into a number of things. Right off the top, it's Lamar Jackson, who yet again finds himself reaching rare air territory. Chris Sims, former NFL quarterback. Yes, I knew he had yesterday. We covered some comments of his that were controversial. Him doubling down essentially on his annual OTA take when it comes to Lamar's attendance, taking issue with that, in a sense, questioning his leadership. But then later that day, he comes out with his top 10 quarterback rankings. And I think you're going to like who's the main man, the top man in all the land. It is Lamar. We'll go through the significance of that and relive some of those statistics that he put forth in what was a historic 2024 season for him. Aside from that, press conferences yesterday, we learned that there is a significant change coming to Baltimore's offense. Andrew Vorhees spoke about battling for left guard duties as a starter, and Mike Green flashes at camp. All that and more, including continued drama in the AFC North. And my, oh my, the Bengals ownership caught a couple strays. I don't even think strays is the right word. Caught a couple direct aims yesterday. I'll tell you why from Shamar Stewart coming up. On the way in, if you could please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and hit that notification bell. I'm so glad you're here. Douglas H. Brown Sr., who's a channel member, gets us started with a super chat today, and he writes, applauding you for doing 2 shows a day due to your devotion to your fans. I appreciate you for noticing, Douglas, and I will be live on the Bobby Baltimore channel after today's 2:30 press conference. That's coming up later. And shout out to my guy, Sharu, for becoming our newest channel member. We are at 618 overall, 618 channel Voltrons. Would love to get that number to 650 and hopefully north of 700 before Sarah gets back in the saddle with me. Let's get to it. Chris Sims revealed his top 10 quarterback countdown list. And in the core 4, and I should say leading atop the core 4 for the first time, is Lamar Jackson. He leapfrogs multiple players. A year ago, Lamar was the 3rd-ranked quarterback. And now he is the 1st-ranked quarterback, according to former quarterback Chris Sims. Josh Allen, off his MVP season, is 2. Joe Burrow comes in at 3. And Patrick Mahomes at 4. Now, there's other categories in his top 10 outside of the core 4. Surgicality. Jaden Daniels sneaks his way into the top 5. Coming off a stellar rookie season for the Washington Commanders, who are surging and on paper had a very, very productive offseason. Matthew Stafford, still kicking, comes in at 6. And CJ Stroud enters into surgicality. It's hard to say that word 10 times fast. Surgicality territory, coming in at 7. The pocket rockets, as Chris Sims notes, are Justin Herbert and Baker Mayfield, and the Super Bowl champion winning quarterback, fresh off that title with the Philadelphia Eagles, rounds out the top 10. That's Jalen Hurts. In his category, a little play on words. The truth hurts. Not sure how you have Herbert and Mayfield above Jalen Hurts. I get it. The Eagles obviously have a ton in terms of supporting cast on all three phases, but Jalen rounding out the top 10 feels a little unfair there. I would have him up maybe just past CJ Stroud, in between Stroud and Herbert. But the reason why I bring it up, and the man who almost universally at this point is viewed as the top performing quarterback in all the land, is the guy who went off in 2024. Over 4,100 passing yards Lamar accounted for. He tallied 41 passing touchdowns to 4 interceptions. He put 915 rushing yards up on top of all those other yards. He had 4 rushing touchdowns for good measure, and that was with Derrick Henry in the backfield. And that tallied for over 5,000 yards. As we all remember, a historic season, 45 total touchdowns, and Lamar, the only quarterback in NFL history to have a season with 40-plus passing touchdowns and under 5 interceptions. That's it. It's a one-man band. How did Lamar, and this version of Lamar over the last 2 seasons, get unlocked? Chris Sims has a few thoughts on that topic.
Like Todd Monken unlocked him, right? It showed him a new way of like, hey, have faith in the offense. Well, I'll get people open. You don't need to be Magic Man 360, run around the edge, throw a ball, or run 70 yards down the field for us to win a game, right? Like, I got enough creative ways, and we got talent here now too, to where if you just play it by the book, we'll be plenty good on offense. And then you just add a little sizzle every now and then when we need it, right? We'll be like almost unstoppable. And that's really where they got. I mean, that's where they were. And again, we saw that in the playoff game. I mean, they were unstoppable that night. I went back and watched that game too. I mean, they played Buffalo 10 times. They beat them 9 times. That was just the one night they screwed it up. Isaiah Likely, wide open down the middle, fumbles the ball, right? We talked about the drop missed throw, his fumble, his bad interception. And again, I think in a moment where he's going, wait, we're down. I want to jumpstart us right now. And it's just like, no, come on. It's playoff football. There's a lot of game left here. We don't have to go throw a ball up down the right sideline, right, without seeing the guy come out of his break. Rashad Bateman, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. I watched a lot of film yesterday. I think it was Bateman. Now, he makes the corner route, and he throws it up, and you remember that got intercepted early on in the football game against Buffalo. That's his next finishing touch, is just learn to rein it in my opinion, in big game playoff football, because the team you're playing is usually damn good. They've been talking about you all week. They're going to do anything they can to get that little advantage. And you might just not be able to play with your pants on fire like the same way you did in Week 12 in the NFL regular season game, right? And that's, I think, something he's learning on the fly. And, man, they're on the doorstep. And would it shock me if they won the Super Bowl this year and then he won the Super Bowl MVP and then we all just sit here and go, yeah, it's official. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time? Yeah, it would not shock me. No, it would not shock me, I should say.
A snippet there from Chris Sims explaining why Lamar won from his vantage point has been unlocked due to Todd Monken's arrival. And also earlier on in that segment, he referred to him as arguably the greatest, I mean, you don't even need the word arguably in there, greatest dual threat quarterback of all time. The guy dressed him up as much as you possibly could. So I felt like the statistics suggested all of that, right? That obviously represented his comments, so I couldn't play the entire 12-plus minute segment. You can go check it out, Chris Sims Unbuttoned. But, while I didn't agree yesterday with Chris's stance that he takes on an annual basis when it comes to, I almost feel like he is suggesting, based on yesterday's comments, that there could be a correlation between OTA attendance in early June and a Super Bowl. I'm not willing to go there. I think that Lamar is as calculated as anyone is when it comes to the structure that goes into his offseason and ultimately finding out and learning over the years what works best for him to achieve his peak performance. And it's hard to question anything he does right now in this era of Lamar Jackson football when he's putting up the numbers that he has since Todd Monken arrived. I already shared with you and kind of reminded you of that breakdown of over 5,000 yards and how it looked. What about more specifically on play action under Todd Monken in 2024? Lamar, a completion percentage of 73, over 1,100 yards, 12 touchdowns to just one pick, and a passer rating of 130.3. It didn't matter who they were throwing out there, what they were running, or what was being thrown at him on the other side of the ball by the opposing team's defense. He was going to carve you up regardless, particularly against the blitz in 24. He was the first ranked completion percentage quarterback. 123 of 176 were converted on. Over 1,700 yards. That was first. He was second in touchdown to interception ratio, 16-3. Again, this is against the blitz. Completion percentage, 69.9, fourth. Passer rating, 124.7, second. And yards per attempt, 9.9. That is first. His average time to throw, just over 2.8 seconds, 2.87 to be exact. So, yeah, the guy was surgical, and it was really hard to knock him off his spot. Quarterbacks with the highest explosive play rate in a single season over the past 5 years. Of course, 2024, Lamar Jackson was on here. Well, guess what? He's got a few other seasons on this list as well. Justin Fields in 2022 leads the way at 5.3%. But 2020, Lamar is second. 2022, Lamar is third. And 2024, Lamar is fourth. So he's well represented, to say the very least, on this ranking, I should say. What's the highest explosive play rate? What is that? An explosive play is a 12-plus yard rush or a 16-plus yard pass. Look, I have no idea whether or not Lamar is going to one-up himself, his 2024 self coming up in 2025, but it would not surprise me whatsoever if he starts to flirt with his 2024 self statistically. That's the way this team is structured. That's the type of mode that Lamar is in entering year 8. And all that's really missing is something that Chris Sims addressed later on in that same segment. Again, after naming Lamar, if you're just tuning in, the top dog in this year's quarterback countdown list.
Jackson has hit a point in his career where, yeah, it's all come together. And he's made a rare transition from a running quarterback to a precision, surgical, pocket passing quarterback who runs when need be. And that's what's amazing about it. He hasn't lost a lot of speed. That's what's special as well. He just got to learn big game football, clutchness in the playoffs, if you want to say. Those are the only things that are stopping us from putting him in the hierarchy of hierarchy, which I'm telling you he's already there. We just need some hardware to get Johnny the plumber to believe it.
It might be a surprise that he's number one on your list here, but if you talk to defensive coordinators, he might be the number one nightmare. In the NFL. Do you think he's
I would say so.
D coordinator who keeps you up at night the most? Obviously, with what Mahomes has done, but Jackson does so much.
It does. It's both. It is both. It's a different way in which they go about it. I think teams are like, oh no, how do we defend Lamar all game long? Mahomes is a little like that, but a little less. But there's more fear of like, he's just gonna win it in the end. Yeah. That's what you get from the people who play the Chiefs. Like he's gonna figure out. He's gonna be clutch at the end, and you don't get that same vibe with Lamar. Everyone's like, oh wow, 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 but they're not quite as afraid of that clutchness yet. And I think that's the last step, the last piece of the puzzle.
I don't think Lamar necessarily lacks a clutch gene. I think it's more about a consistency thing and maybe even a between the ears mental thing when it comes to the postseason. We all saw Lamar take a big step forward in this year's postseason when it comes to overall performance, right? We've kind of documented that. We have gone through the statistics of that, and we've gone through the upward trajectory that suggests that Lamar's postseason demons are behind him. That doesn't take away from the lack of mistake-free football we saw from him in a do-or-die game where he was either directly or indirectly involved in multiple turnovers. You can't turn the ball over. The Ravens did so 3 times and ultimately dominated the Bills, but coughed it up because of the lack of ball security, where the Bills just kind of hung around, played mistake-free football in a sense, and in a sense, allow the Ravens to beat themselves, which was a season-long trend. The difference in my mind between Mahomes and Lamar when it comes to through the lens of the opponent, I totally agree with what Chris said in terms of Mahomes, right? He's going to kind of hang around, maybe play pedestrian-like, but when it matters and the lights are on, he's going to carve you up and find a way to win the game, right? And if you're an opponent, that's what's keeping you up at night. You're getting nightmares because he may not even be close to 100%, and yet somehow, some way, the Chiefs emerge victorious. With Lamar, it's more like this dude's going to completely embarrass us and game wreck us. And our plan, our game plan is going to be all for naught. Like, that's the way that I view the difference between the two quarterbacks. Can Lamar get into that category in the near future of being viewed in the same light as Mahomes is when it comes to, okay, hanging around. He's pedestrian-like. He's not playing his best football. They're just kind of hanging in it, right? Keeping themselves around within striking distance. And then when the lights come on, like, good night. I could see that. But right now, there is a big difference between the two quarterbacks at this point in their postseason resumes, in their postseason tenures. But to call Lamar not clutch, to me, that's a bit too rich for me. It's a bit too far for me. I think he has shown, and he certainly showed without his top two targets, guys, back in January when it mattered, right? Going 90-plus yards, whatever it was, 80-plus yards to give his team a chance with what? Anthony Miller? Wasn't Steven Sims out there? No bait, no Zay. He drives the length of the field and gives the Ravens a chance. That right there is the definition of clutch. He was not consistent enough. He was not mistake-free enough in that postseason game, but he sure was clutch when it mattered. And I think there's a difference between the two when you start to really dive in and analyze Lamar as a postseason player, which obviously has become an over-dissected topic because of some of his shortcomings throughout the last several years. Thank you guys for being with me on this Wednesday. Please like the video on your way in, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of when we're dropping our daily live content here inside the show. 4 o'clock Eastern every single day. We repurpose parts of our 60-plus minute show and dress it up for a 15 to 20-minute short-form condensed piece of content. Seems like a lot of you have been enjoying that process, and let us know. BaltimoreRavensVault at gmail.com. We'll always accept feedback from you, and we appreciate you as always. Happy Father's Day week to those of you who celebrate, to those of you who have fathers, grandfathers, husbands in your lives. And due to Father's Day and due to it being U.S. Open week for golf fans out there, and due to our brand new sponsorship and partnership with Baltimore County Golf, we are so pleased to introduce you to this new giveaway that we're doing this week. And now through tomorrow, through the end of day tomorrow, you can enter to win once a day. It's $350 in credit towards the purchase of a new golf club or clubs at the Fox Hollow Training Center. On top of that, they're going to give you a 30-minute custom fitting to guarantee you good fit, good feel, good overall style with what you're looking for in that club or clubs. So click on the link that's included in the show notes and as a pinned comment right now to enter in. What a great opportunity. I mean, it's literally golf season. And right now at Greystone, the Woodlands, Diamond Ridge, Fox Hollow, and Rocky Point, you can get your golf game on right now. Pay more. I should say play more and pay less. There's a difference. Play more, pay less with Baltimore County Golf. You can grab a 3-pack of lessons from a Baltimore County Golf teaching professional near you and start playing more today. Fox Hollow Training Center offers special clinics all summer long that introduce you to the game of golf and get you comfortable on the golf course. And the Advantage Card, if you're getting that itch this time of year. The Advantage Card might be, if you're in the Baltimore area, might be something that would be worth taking a look at. $40 is going to get you greens fee and golf shop discounts, 16-day advanced tee time reservations, $20 in coupons, access to twilight times 1 hour earlier than the general public, and loyalty rewards points on everything from greens fees to food and beverage. You can go to BaltimoreGolfing.com for details today. Hit them up on Instagram while you're at it, at Baltimore County Golf. Continued thanks to Chris and our friends over at Baltimore County Golf for the support, believing in what we're building here in Baltimore and beyond, and supporting the channel, because that's exactly what they're doing. And just know, when you support our brand sponsors, you're supporting us and what we're building here inside this channel. Appreciate all of you guys for being here. Let's get to some super chats before we talk about Mike Green flashing. That's exactly what he did yesterday at Ravens OTAs. It's the final session, by the way, of voluntary organized team activities. John R. hit us with a super sticker. Appreciate you for being here, John. Asmodeus, who's a channel member, says, thank effing God. I 100% agree and kept saying that after the loss. We played like a bully who got punched in the mouth and got reckless in bad weather. Responding to Chris Sims' comments from a short while ago. And another one from Richard as well, who says, it was a coaching thing. Play calling reflected it too. And look who is back, throwing in a little orange banner for good measure. It's PHP. Park Heights Profits in the building. What's going on, brother? You were worrying me. I hadn't heard from you in a couple days. I thought maybe you said, oh, if Sarah's not here, I'm boycotting the show. I'm glad that's not the case. PHP says, been MIA since last week. Did you miss me, with a boatload of question marks in my Varnell Hill voice? Okay. And yes, we need Jaire plus a vet offensive guard or a vet OG. Which one are you going with? Guard or just OG in general? Safety and one more edge for the stash. See you all in Santa Clara. PHP checking in. Thanks for being here, brother. And thank you for the $20 super chat donation. Moneybag says Lamar's team and head coach fail him in the playoffs. Thank you guys for being here. We've got over 500 concurrents. If you could, on the way in, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and hit that notification bell. Let's talk about Ravens rookie Mike Green, who, of course, was selected in the second round out of Marshall, put up 17 sacks in his final collegiate year, and was an absolute beast. Could the breakout season for the Rook be incoming? It's still early. Pads aren't out yet. It's literally the third session of voluntary team activities here in the month of June. But guess what? This dude's flashing. Cliff Brown, Jeff Zarebek, Jonas Schaefer, all noting a highlight moment that took place yesterday for Mike Green, number 45. Picked off Cooper Rush. As Jonas notes, it was one of the highlights of today's practice. It was in the flat on a naked bootleg. Snoozy Kane had one as well, by the way. Cliff Brown, and late for work on BaltimoreRavens.com, said that Mike Green showed impressive awareness with that interception against backup Cooper Rush. Also grouped Snoozy, a second-year player out of Purdue, a safety in that grouping as well in terms of showcasing impressive awareness. Cliff said Green showed his athleticism by dropping into coverage and picking off a pass intended for Isaiah Likely. Rushing the quarterback is Green's forte after leading the FBS with 17 sacks, like I mentioned, at Marshall. But in addition to rushing from the edge, the second-round pick displayed good instincts going backwards. So there you have it. If you're looking for a reason to get fired up in the slow month of June, a week out from mandatory minicamp, a month plus out from training camp, perhaps it's this. The Rook, Mike Green. Will he be a rotational player as they sort of ease him in? Maybe. Or will he showcase and put his best foot forward in terms of what he can bring to the NFL level and how his transition looks in the coming months, putting himself in a position to earn playing time, considerable playing time right away? If I'm a betting man, I'm probably going with the former. I just want to play it on the safe side. But then again, if he doesn't have his off-field issues, this is a dude who has been compared in some traits, in some areas of his game, to Abdul Carter. And we all know that Abdul went top 5. So the safe side is they're going to ease Mike in, and ultimately this is a player that's going to be a rotational piece for them to start. And once he starts to get his legs under him, Grammar Police, where are you at? Shout out Beth. Shout out Jason from yesterday. Once he gets his legs under him as a rook, just like Nate Wiggins, different position, different part of the defense last year, they're going to continue to add to his workload. And that is something that's awfully enticing. That's exciting, knowing that at this point, early in the process, the ones aren't out there. Yes, it's Cooper Rush, who's scheduled to be Lamar Jackson's backup. Yes, he's got a decent amount of experience, considering he's never been a full-fledged starter in this league. Yes, you have to temper the expectations, but it's great to see an edge rusher of all players showing the versatility, right, and the awareness that Mike Green appears to have shown yesterday during OTAs at one winning drive. Elsewhere, there were press conferences held, and Ravens offensive line coach George Warhop had this to say about one significant change that's coming to the offensive line, I assume, for 2025, because George is in charge. Ultimately, this goes through John Harbaugh, but something that they've kind of hung their hat on in recent years in the midst of a rebuild and retooling up and down the offensive line has been a rotation. Could that be on the way out? Perhaps.
Been a starter. I don't like playing two guys. So, we got two veteran guys here with Andrew and Ben. Let them fight it out, right? If one of the young guys come up and they can add competition to that, we'll let that happen. But I prefer to have a starter and a backup. I don't like going in with combination guys. So that's my hope.
It's not just been guard that the Ravens have leaned on this idea of a rotation. And by the way, leaned on is one way of putting it. They have successfully leaned on a rotation at multiple positions over the years, particularly at tackle. Now, this was a Joe D'Alessandris way of thinking. And to his credit, and rest in peace, Joe D, it's coming up on a year since we lost the great Joe D, a fantastic man that I had the pleasure of interacting with on multiple occasions, both out at one winning drive and in Fells Point when I used to be a resident in Baltimore City. And he would be walking around with his wife at the time. And now, just within the last few years, both have tragically passed, which is so darn sad. But I guess with some of the retooling, with some of the young players, with some of the inconsistencies that were taking place, right? The lack of sturdiness, if you will, up and down the offensive line for different reasons. It could be injury related. It could be some players have walked in free agency, like Patrick McCary did this past offseason. The Ravens, for whatever reason, as unorthodox in a lot of ways and not unheard of, but really a rare way of executing offensive line play, is something that they have, again, leaned into, and successfully so, at a rotation. But you got to wonder, though, last year, when you think about one area of weakness, if you will, for an offense that was high-flying and superpower-ish, was probably the lack of discipline, the lack of polish, and some of the penalties that they committed that were self-inflicted. How much of that could have been related to the lack of momentum built up because of leaning on this mechanism of rotating players in and out? I wonder. And I would be really curious, as a follow-up question to offensive line coach Warhop, is, do you think that there could be a correlation between that? What makes you come out strongly the way that he did during yesterday's press conference and say, hey, I don't like rotating? I mean, he didn't mince words there whatsoever. And he also mentioned, I mean, this is kind of obvious, that his two veterans, well, Andrew Vorhees is really not a veteran when you think about his rookie year being sort of a redshirt season. But anyway, the two players that have been in the building the last couple of years, and for Ben, it dates back even longer than that, it's up to them. It's a two-man competition right now if you ask George Warhop. Sure, are there younger players that are going to have a shot over the next couple months to make their case? Sure. But in all likelihood, starting left guard in the aftermath of Patrick McCarry leaving in free agency is going to come down to Andrew Vorhees and is going to come down to Ben Cleveland. Andrew was asked about the spirit of competition yesterday during his press conference, and he had this to say.
I mean, go either way, right? I mean, I always just want to go out there and be the best football player that you could be. And yeah, I mean, to my perspective, it's just there's an open position out there for grabs, and it's up to somebody. And so why not me, right? Why not anybody else for that sake? But yeah, I mean, just kind of take it day by day, and we'll just see what happens when this all settles down and we get ready for a week one opener.
I think it's his job to lose, folks. Andrew Vorhees, again, if you remember Andrew's story, a couple years ago, the Ravens had started their press conference, their post-NFL draft press conference in the 7th round before the actual draft was over because they had already taken care of their picks, right? This was the 2023 7th round. And so all of a sudden, I remember covering that press conference, watching that press conference, getting ready for our show. And then, oh, by the way, the Ravens traded back into the 7th round once the press conference had already been conducted to go get USC guard Andrew Vorhees. And we're all thinking to ourselves like, wait, what? What was the idea here? He literally tore his ACL, right? During one of the drills, he tore his ACL. Prior to that setback, he was slated to be, I don't know, day 2 pick, potentially day 2 pick. And we all remember what he did, by the way, on that ACL tear at his pro. I think it was at his pro day. Dude put up like 20 plus reps on the bench of 225 with a torn ACL. What a beast. And so since then, since 2023, that first rookie year obviously was a wash as he recovered from that ACL. And then last year, he was the projected and the shoe-in starter to kick things off, and he played starting caliber football before going down with that injury. Now, it wasn't as severe of an injury to keep him down throughout the entire year, and John Harbaugh confirmed to me when I was in Indianapolis at the Combine that it wasn't due to his health that he never got a shot the rest of the way. It was more like, hey, we like what Patrick McCarry did in fill-in work, and we decided to let it ride. So that tells me that with McCarry gone and the Ravens being content to let him walk in free agency and go to Jacksonville, I think they're comfortable in what they have in Andrew Vorhees. Do I think there'll be a competition between he and Ben? Sure. But I think it's Andrew's job to lose for my money. And I see that there is a gift run that has just begun. I'll get to that in just a second. You guys make it so much fun. You know that? You guys make it fun in here. You just make it fun. It's Andrew Vorhees' job to lose for me in terms of left guard. And I said, when you think of the projected starting lineup, to me, there were questions last year. There were questions the year prior. To me, it's pretty set in stone. You got Ronnie Stanley, newly extended Ronnie Stanley, your franchise left tackle, back for more. You've got Andrew Vorhees, projected favorite to be starting left guard in wake of Patrick McCarry's absence. Tyler Linderbaum, obviously a contract year for him. You would think he remains a priority for this organization. They declined his 5th-year option. That number was astronomical for centers when you take a look at the market. But we know that when healthy, and he has been for the most part, the guy is country tough, extremely durable, Iowa strong, so on and so forth. He's one of the top, if not the top centers in the entire draft, and that's why they were comfortable picking him with a first-round draft capital selection a few years ago. He'll be your starter and mainstay at center. Right guard, there were questions certainly swirling around this position last year. I think Daniel Fa'alele, as crazy as it seems, has earned the right to be a projected starter. Is Ben Cleveland the more viable option on paper? I guess, but clearly not in the coach's eyes. And clearly they're going to continue to see Daniel Fa'alele, despite some of the conditioning issues that it looks like he's been having so far at this early point in the offseason program, as their guy at right guard. And based on what he put on film last year, it's hard to question otherwise. And then, of course, the bookend tackles are taken care of for the next few years. That's an exciting point of reality for the Ravens and ultimately Lamar Jackson's protection unit. It's Roger Rosengarten, the second-year player at right tackle. They drafted him in the second round out of Washington. And despite his first play ever, his first snap ever being one that he certainly wants to forget, my goodness, did he rebound and have a tremendous year taking on anybody and everybody. You think about the big-time pass rushers that he went up against opposite, the TJ Watts of the world, the Max Crosbys of the world. Think about the Myles Garretts and everybody that Cleveland has. They almost got Abdul Carter. Thank God for Rodgers' sake and everybody else on that Baltimore offensive line, and they didn't. That would have been a two-headed monster and then some. So to me, this is an offensive line that has far less, I should say, questions than it did a year ago. And I think they've earned the right. The offensive line has earned the right to express confidence in them from my vantage point at this point in this progress, at this point in the offseason program. And sure, maybe there'll be some surprises come summer camp. But right now, I think that starting five is pretty darn solidified. Perhaps Joe Noteboom, their free agency pickup, is sort of the swing tackle McCary replacement. And then from there, you just got to figure out what you have with some of these young bodies in Emory Jones and Carson Vincent. Perhaps those players are years out, or maybe Emory Jones ends up being that swing tackle, or maybe he gets some run at guard. It'll be fun to see. It'll be very fun to see how things shake out in the summer, because I feel confident. I can confidently tell you that I think that they have a formidable, more than formidable, starting solidified offensive line. They also have pieces that'll be waiting in the wings the second a blip in the radar happens. And I think that is a luxury at this point in the offseason to feel good about that category, about that area of the offense. And I know I'm certainly in that camp. I see there's a run on gifts right now. So let's get to it. You guys are the best. The gift giving is on. Super chats and gifts. A boatload of quick hits and one more thing to follow. Thanks to Baltimore County Golf for sponsoring this episode. Let's see what we have going on. I have to wake up and pay attention because, again, you can't multitask without sacrificing some portion of this overall product. Dreams, my guy Quion down in Virginia, is celebrating 3 months of channel membership. And he writes, we should be campaigning Lamar for MVP, but it's MV3 again. My prediction is 50 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and 600 rushing yards. And he helps D. Hen get that 2K and possibly the record. A lot of predictions floating out there by Dreams. The King, should he reach 2K, will be featured in a future Adam Sandler movie. So that's important notes to keep in mind based on his recent conversation and interview with Dan Patrick. Moneybag checking in again. He is a channel member and official Voltron. Appreciate you for the multi-super chat day. Moneybag writes, the problem is with Green is the coach is going to let him be great. Are the coaches going to let him be great? They always hold back our high potential rookies. Coaching decisions hold us back. Kyle Hamilton is in attendance for Ravens organized team activities. He's missed most of them in terms of those that are open to media. But Jonas Schaefer noting that another day of voluntary OTAs is getting underway at one winning drive here shortly. And then there's another press conference at 2:30. I will be live on the Bobby Baltimore channel afterwards. Appreciate you, Moneybag. And now the gift giving begins. Tila, about 6 or 8 minutes ago, gifted 5 Voltron memberships. We began the day at 618. Tila now gets us to 623. Appreciate you, Tila. You're the best. Park Heights Prophet says, hey, I'm going to match you, Tila, because I haven't been around this week, and I'm going to make sure my presence is felt. That brings us to 628. Sounds to me like 650 is absolutely in the cards today. And maybe, just maybe, a 700 spot could be up. You never know. Not a fan says, hey, Tila, hey, Park Heights Prophet, I'm going to do what you do. And he's not trolling for once in the Discord. Are you? Steve hits us with 5 channel Voltrons. We are up to 15 in the last couple minutes. So 618 is where we started. Then Tila donated 5, brought us to 623. Park Heights Prophet dropped in for 628. Not a fan brought us to 632. Park Heights Prophet comes in again to bring us to 630. This is where I start to like lose my ability to count. 637, because I'm like getting excited. 637, courtesy of PHP with a double up. So Tila, Park Heights Prophet, not a fan. Park Heights Prophet, again, all just dropped in 5 apiece. Heather McCubbins is celebrating 2 months of channel membership, and she's always gift giving. Appreciate you, Heather. She writes, love my Voltrons. You guys all make my day. Makes my day that you're so consistent with us, Heather. Thank you for being here. Mike has gifted an additional channel membership. That brings us to 638. Appreciate you, Mike. Chris is diving in for a 5 spot. She wants a 5-piece. What's going on, Chris? Alabama's finest. That brings us to 643 because of Chris's generosity. Park Heights Prophet donates 1 and then 5. So 6. We're at 649. And I haven't even gotten into a boatload of quick hits, some AFC North chatter, and one more thing. 649 we're currently sitting at with plenty more content to get to. You guys are the best. PHP, Chris, Mike, not a fan, Tila have all gifted channel memberships so far. Appreciate you guys. We're at 649. You can become one by clicking the join feature. You can support the channel by going to check out Baltimore County Golf and the giveaway opportunity for Father's Day and the start of the U.S. Open week by clicking on the link that's included in the show notes and also as a pinned comment. And just before we transition, Evan's got us to 650. Appreciate you, Ev. My guy, 650. And DC's finest. Oh, David and Evan tried to be 650. We'll both give him that. How about we're not going to let one of these guys be 651 because they came in at the same time, even though Evan had him by a hair. So Evan is 650. David is 650 for my money. Really, we're at 651. You guys are the best. We'll get back to super chats and gifts in just a bit, and I got to start a new line because of the gifts and the generosity today. 651 and counting. Awesome support from you guys. Let's get to some quick hits and the latest on Jaire Alexander. He is the Green Bay Packers corner that has generated a ton of buzz so far this week because he was released. He's no longer a Packers cornerback. He is available. He was released by Green Bay earlier this week, and Josina Anderson made some news yesterday by saying that she's been told, according to her source, that 6 teams made immediate inquiries about his availability. And, of course, that kind of begged the question, being that the Ravens could have a need at corner. Were they one of the 6? Bunch of people hit her up in her mentions and were like, hey, exactly that, right? Like Gucci here, who was like, hey, Josina, it's me. It's me again. Was Baltimore one of those 6 teams? And Josina, after midnight Eastern, technically this morning, said, dear #Ravens fans, I've always been there for you guys. That said, it's after midnight. XOXO with a gif of a cartoon. Who is that cartoon? I can't even tell. Getting into bed. Slumbering. Josina, always working the phones. Friend of the show. Genuine friend of mine. I love her. Absolutely love me some Josina Anderson. But wouldn't go as far as to share if the Ravens were one of those 6 teams. What say you guys? We covered it yesterday. They often do their due diligence, and you would think that this wouldn't be an exception to that, particularly given the situation that they have forming right now in the secondary, having lost Ardarius Washington, yes, he's a safety, and potentially Bo Braid for at least some portion of time. We haven't heard from John Harbaugh yet, but Bo left an OTA session earlier this week with what looked to be a lower body injury. And knowing that, yeah, you feel good about obviously your two starters, your bona fide starters, and Nate Wiggins and Marlon Humphrey, but Chido Awuzie, who was their free agency signing, and on paper, their Brandon Stevens replacement, you just don't know if you can count on him in terms of availability. That was one of the main reasons that led to his departure and release by the Tennessee Titans, and they are willing to eat 7.5 M's just for him to suit up for another organization this upcoming season. So, outside of those players, you've got young, unproven, and inexperienced guys that are going to be competing, like a TJ Tampa, right? Like a couple of the rookies from day 3 of this past April's draft in Bilal Cohn and Robert Longerbeam, and you got a slew of undrafted rookies that are out there as well, not to mention the veteran who's going to be just trying to squeeze his way into the 53-man roster, so much so they're taking a look at him at safety right now, and that's Jalen Armour-Davis, the former 4th-round pick from 2022 out of Alabama. So just something to keep an eye out for. Obviously, when a player of Jaire's caliber hits the open market, there's going to be a lot of conversation. There's going to be a lot of buzz and speculation, and it certainly doesn't hurt that he and Lamar are close friends, confidants, and former teammates at the University of Louisville. So we will continue to monitor that. On to the AFC North, and perhaps something that's dominating the news cycles and NFL news cycle for weeks on end, and that is the rookie pass rusher who was drafted by Cincinnati, the 17th overall pick in April. That's Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M. He has not yet to participate in the Bengals offseason program because he hasn't signed his contract yet. Listen to the way they eviscerated ownership yesterday.
Been doing to stay locked in, and there's only so much that can replicate on the field reps, but what have you been doing to make sure that you're actually locked in when you're out there, knowing that you can't do anything?
Great question.
I still go to meetings. I still study my playbook, take down the right notes, and then whenever I get some free time, I go out to train at Black Sheep.
Is it fair to say at this point that you will not step foot on the practice field in practice until you're signed?
Yes.
Good question.
Very bad. I mean, I've been doing this for most of my whole life, and then all of a sudden it's gone over something very simple to fix. And it's kind of disappointing.
Have they given you any answers as to why they're choosing this year and you to set a new precedent?
If I really wanted to say, I can't say what I really want to say, but it's their contract. They can do what they want with it.
Oh, that means something.
What do you really want to say?
Think, from a player standpoint, to be on the field for training camp?
It's very important. I mean, you got to get your body somewhat prepared to play football, especially me coming from college to the NFL is a way physical game, even though I play in the SEC, which is very physical, but nothing compares to actually playing in the NFL. So I thought I'd be on the field by now. That's what I would thought.
What about representation, family, friends? Obviously, you've got to lean on a lot of people to kind of get through a difficult time like this. What have they been telling you to help you?
Just take it day by day, pray to God. He's always gonna stand with me, no matter what. And just know you're doing the right thing. Like some people say, we all agree Trey will be right? But technically, he's still 1% wrong for being under contract. So, in my case, I'm 100% right. So it should be a no-brainer. And in Trey's case, I think it should be a no-brainer too. I mean, he led 17.5 sacks for 2 years back-to-back. If I was the GM or I was the owner, take all my money. But I guess they don't operate like that. But
Have you talked to Trey at all?
I talked to him the last time he was here, but other than that, no.
Has this experience soured your taste for the Bengals?
I'm not gonna say that. I mean, I'm still new here. We still have a long future ahead of us.
Maybe. What's your communication with Zach Taylor been like through this?
Seems very reasonable.
Yeah, I like this kid a lot.
We'll talk here and there.
Yeah, me too.
Look at listen to McAfee in the background.
Mentally, no. Physically, kind of, sort of. Not really, though. I still work out. I feel like I'm still in good shape.
How do you make sure that you're ready to go whenever that time comes?
Oh, I'm always ready to go. I've been staying ready to go. I mean, it's my job now. I got no choice but to be ready to go.
Oh, yeah.
Are you optimistic is the wrong word, but is it realistic that you could practice tomorrow if something gets done? I mean, is it that quick? Do you think it's going to be like a light switch?
Let's see. We got, 20 hours? Let's see what happens.
Good Lord. Okay, so just to catch you guys up to speed, in case you haven't been paying attention to Bengals-related items, and I need you to take your potential bias goggles off here, because I know there is a pure hatred within some of you for that organization, but I need you to take off those goggles right now, because what the Cincinnati Bengals are doing, what the ownership and front office is doing to rookie Shamar Stewart is absolutely Bush League. Richard just dropped in a 10 spot, by the way, and Heather followed up with 5. 700's in the cards. Don't make me stop and lose my train of thought. I saw that. I saw those gifts come in. Don't make me do it. I might have to. You want me to lose my train of thought? You guys are the best. I'll acknowledge those in just a bit, because I do need to get through my train of thought and everything about this Shamar Stewart conversation, because it's absolutely fascinating. But I saw it out of the corner of my eye. My peripheral vision is elite. Richard and Asmodeus dropping them in. Nuggets are flying in. Park Heights Prophet now throws a little bit of love around here as well. Let's run it up. Shamar. So many takeaways from that clip. As Jay Morrison noted on X, friend of the show, by y'all, he means the Bengals front office. He goes, I'm 100% right. I'm not asking a 10 spot from PHP. Mom! Come on down here, Mom. They want to see you. We're going to literally pay for Sarah's airfare back. Let's do it. I think my mom's coming down the steps right now. She wants to catch this. I'm going to completely lose my train of thought. I'm 100% right. I'm not asking for nothing y'all have never done before. But in y'all's case, you just want to win arguments more than winning more games. He goes, it should be a no-brainer. In Trey's case, it should be a no-brainer. Talking about Trey Hendrickson. He's in the middle of a standoff right now. He hasn't reported to mandatory minicamp. They just lost their team captain, defensive captain, and Jermaine Pratt. They willingly released him. They allocated a you-know-what ton of money to their 2 wide receivers, deservedly so, after the offensive output they put forth last year. But what are they going to have to show for it if they can't put forth a formidable defense, which they weren't able to a year ago? This is becoming a sideshow and a major distraction for this organization. And if you're wondering what the specifics are of what's holding this up, this is the language from a recent piece that I read. The Bengals have decided to wedge a new clause into Stewart's deal. The clause would turn a default in any given year into a void of all remaining guarantees. In prior Bengals contracts, a void wiped out only the guarantees for the year in which the default occurred. And he refuses to be the guinea pig. So again, this is ludicrous. This is unfair. This is not good business practice. And as a result, the Bengals got quite a pickle. They've put themselves into quite a pickle. And I thought Hayden did a good job of explaining what else is going on in the organization right now. Both of their top edges can't practice because of contract issues. They're trying to write new contract language to make it easier to avoid guarantees, as we just mentioned, for their first rounder in Shamar Stewart, and aren't using the $27 million cap space that they now have available to them on Trey Hendrickson, who's the reigning NFL sack king from a year ago. In other news, there's a lot going on in Cincinnati right now. And for a team that hasn't made January postseason in 2 years and struggled as they lit it up offensively to make the postseason a year ago because of what was happening on the other side of the ball and because of what they've lost this offseason, they appear to be in a world of hurt right now. It'll all go away if they come out of the gate strong, unlike they have really all throughout the Joe Burrow era earlier on in these seasons. But goodness gracious, tough times right now if you're in Bengals country. And I know a lot of you got to be enjoying that reality. You guys are unbelievable today, making me... I'm actually proud, by the way. I am proud that I got through that final thought on the Bengals because there's just like rocket fire of generosity in the forms of gift giving going on. I can't even form sentences coherently. Dreams gets us to 652. And then Richard decided to open up the floodgates and drop the first 10 spot of the afternoon into the channel, which brings us to 661. 661. In other words, 700 is very much in the cards today, folks. 700. 661, Richard gets us because of his 10 spot. Heather says, hey, I'm going to give you an additional 5 because I love you and we love you. 666 is where we currently sit. Thank you, Heather. Park Heights Profit says, with another $10 super chat on top of the gifts, on top of the $20 spot from earlier on, he writes, oh no, drama with the Paper Tigers. Good. Soft city, soft fans, soft ownership. I love to see my enemies in disarray. Laughs in my hey you knuckleheads voice. Hopefully I didn't botch that. I think I did. That is a deep cut for my Be More folks. PHP you'd ever miss with not only the consistency in terms of your generosity, but also what's attached to those generosity gifts, which apparently there are more coming. A 10 spot to match the top donation of the day, which was gifted by Richard. That brings us to 676. By the way, were you guys aware that Richard loves a good old-fashioned from Barcelona in Washington, D.C.? You want to know how I know that? Because Richard and I went to a singles event together, okay, through the Mormon church, which I spent some One More Time content on a few months back. Yes, we did. We rocked the house. We both walked away without any numbers and without our future wives, but that's neither here nor there. He loves a good old-fashioned. And so the next time I see his arse, I'm going to be using some of this generosity to go give him a fantastic old-fashioned, hopefully in the D.C. area. So 676 is where we currently sit. And Park Heights Profit brings us with an additional 5 channel members to 681. 700's in the cards. I'm just going to say Bobby Greed might start to come out here because Sarah is just days away from returning. And if she shows up and that number is through the moon, I'm going to be fired up because it's going to make me look good too. One-man banding is always difficult. You always want to put on a good show for your partner when they're getting their deserved time off, right, in terms of vacation. I feel like Sarah goes to town when I'm off, and I like to do the same when she's off. 681 is where we currently sit. Heather McCubbins says that PHP brings the giving out of us. I feel like Richard and PHP do have this like spirited kind of contagious effect to them, which is really awesome. It's really awesome for our channel's growth too. Appreciate you guys. And Manuel, my guy Manny down in Mexico City, has a bet. It's a Tylan Wallace bet. He gets 250 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns as wide receiver. I don't know about that one. I love Tylan, but I don't know about that one. Let's just say this. If he hits those categories, 250 and 2 touchdowns, I got to think that that might be a direct result of an injury, to be honest with you. I'd love to be wrong on that, but it's just from a distribution standpoint, that's hard. That's hard to get on that bandwagon. But I know you love them, and I hope for your sake that those numbers hit. Are you asking me to bet you on that one? Because I'll bet against it. I hate to do that to Thailand, but I got to look at this objectively. Not a fan, by the way. Gets us to 682, and I have more content to get to, so perhaps 700 is in the cards. We're at 682. That's where we're chilling right now. Appreciate you, Steve. Richard just hopped back in. I can't even pivot back to quick hits. I'm almost about to just throw out a bottle of wine right now. I'm opening it up and get a cigar down here. I don't know. Is there a humidor down here? Why not? 682 is where we sat prior to Richard coming in at 687. We are closing in on the number, folks. Appreciate you, Richard. It ain't even payday. He's feeling good. Chris comes in and gets us to 692. I'm telling you right now, I joke around. You guys know that. And I lean into this and we have fun. And Bobby Greed and Bobby this. Attach whatever the hell you want to Bobby if you're going to continue to do this, by the way. But it goes without saying, this new feature that we rolled out back in March, I think is going to make the world of difference in terms of where this channel can go and where we want it to go. Because this has been, quite frankly, a new source of income, a new way of growing the channel, a new way of incentivizing you out there, and ultimately getting people a lot more involved with us. So I cannot literally, you leave me speechless at times when this run starts to happen. It's like an NBA game. It's a game of runs. And all of a sudden, PHP shows up and Richard shows up and Tila and Chris get this party started. I mean, it's just been unbelievable. 692, thanks to Chris. And Park Heights brings us into the 700 number. We are at 702, and Heather brings us to 703. Thank you guys for getting us to 700 channel members. 700 and 708 now. 750's in the cards because Tila says, I'm showing up. 708. Mom, where are you? Mom. She's going to think something's wrong. 708 is in the cards. Screw quick hits. I'm about to push that you-know-what and start swearing in this you-know-what. And we're going to push quick hits to tomorrow. Gosh darn it. Unbelievable. Mike M gets us to 709. I need water. My throat's closing up. 709. Mom! 709 channel members. She might be on the phone right now and be really pissed at me if she is, because we both work from home. And if that's the case, I'm going to feel really bad. Park Heights Profit just threw a 5 spot in there. I'm going to lose my breath here in a little bit. 714 is where we currently sit. And if I don't pivot back to quick hits, this is going to get ugly for all involved. You guys are incredible. This is just a next level display of support. And I, for one, want to kiss you. I want to kiss each and every one of you. All right? Right on the lips. Smack dab on the lips. Bobby After Hours is about to get going if you don't be careful. Your first look at Aaron Rodgers wearing the number 8 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He reported to mandatory minicamp. You got to be kidding me. There is more super chats and gifts that are flying in, and I have to remain in control of the show, bro. A-Rod is in Pittsburgh, saying that Mike Tomlin yesterday during his first press conference as a Steeler was the main reason why he chose Pittsburgh. We'll see. Mason Rudolph suspected to be or expected to be his primary backup, and we'll see if DK Metcalf is enough. Yeah, they have a couple other minor role players and pieces on that offense, but is DK Metcalf and Aaron Rodgers enough to get this team to a wild card berth? I don't view them as a 10-win team. I see them right around 8 or 9 wins for my money. That could be good enough if this is a really competitive division and competitive AFC to get in as a wild card. We'll see. Sticking with AFC North quarterbacks, Shador Sanders, I thought, had a really compelling press conference recently this week. Of course, he's competing with Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and fellow rookie Dylan Gabriel in Cleveland. And I thought this question and his expanded answer, well, it was an impressive way of handling what obviously has been a tumultuous couple months for him as he was drafted, of course, by the Cleveland Browns.
Overall, it's a mentality. It's mental. It's a lot of people in certain situations in their own life, that may not be at the forefront, that maybe had that at one point in time, but you got to know it's going to be bright days eventually whenever the time comes. So you just always got to be prepared, and you got to mentally take it as just an experience, and anything in life you got to go through different things so you can understand the message that, God's trying to give you. So that's why everything I'm way more grateful for, just to come out here, to be able to throw the ball around and just be able to get on the field. Like, everything off the field, it is what it is, but everybody know when it's time to get on that grass, then you know who I am. My goal is to be the best teammate and to be as polished as I can be. So in every aspect, I view things as I got time. I got time to be able to grow and mature, and be able to understand the ins and outs of the defenses and be able to get the good insight from the vets in the room. So I look at it as, a plus. Like, I got time to actually be able to really have a great understanding. And whenever, it's time for me to play, then it's time for me to play. But I'm not looking too far in the future about all that. I'm looking about every day in practice, because I had some misses out there today that, we got to go in there and correct, about Reeves getting in and out drops a little bit faster from under center. So that's the main thing. I'm focused on the small things, and over time, the big things will happen. Of course, I feel more comfortable here. I would say it's just a mindset, it's just an adjustment. You got to go and understand the situation that you're in and be able to approach that and get the best out of it. So life is just based on how you view different things. So you could view things as you're not getting reps in a negative way, or you could view it as, okay, when it's my time to get out there, let's be proactive and let's get warm, let's get going, so there's no excuses. Because when you get out there, nobody cares how many reps you got. Whenever you get in the game, nobody cares if you took a snap before. Everybody cares about production. So that's the main thing. When you get out there, you got to be able to produce.
As you can probably tell by my face, I was taking that opportunity, that long clip from Shador Sanders, to scroll up in the live chat to see what I may have missed, and you guys are cracking me up. So I had listened to that press conference, that snippet that I just shared with you earlier prior to the show during my conference. Well, it wasn't a conference call with Sarah, but during my pre-show power hour, I like to call it. I just thought it was an impressive way to handle tough questions. And obviously for Shador, every single word is going to be hung on. And I just thought that he showed a lot of maturity there. As for the Sanders family, it's a good segue to talk about Deion, Shador's father, and of course the head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes, who recently stepped away from the team while dealing with an unspecified illness. So apparently he was remaining, and still is, at his house in Texas while CU football camp already got underway at Boulder. So I'm sure leaning on his staff. But just from the horse's mouth earlier today, he made clear, wow, I'm truly blessed for the abundance of well wishes, for all the thoughts and all the prayers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can assure you all that everything is okay and will continue to be so. God got me like no other. I have so much more work to do, glorify God. So please believe God got me, so on and so forth. He says he's excited to get back to Colorado, to be at home with my staff, team, and all associated to our program. When you arrive back to Boulder, you will be updated on everything. Until then, I'm coming, baby. Hashtag Coach Prime. So good news that he appears to be in good spirits. No idea what's going on with him, but apparently he's going to let us all know when he gets back down and settled into Boulder. J.K. Dobbins has officially signed with the Denver Broncos as of moments ago, but the report came in yesterday. Tom Pelissero noting that he's signing a 1-year, $5.25 million deal with Denver. He spent last year, of course, with the Chargers, had over 1,000 yards from scrimmage, 9 touchdowns in 13 games. So good to see him continuing to get opportunities in this league. I continue to think, what if, man? What if he hadn't dealt with so many significant knee injuries during his time in Baltimore, and it all was due to that preseason game in Washington. Just unlucky, a terrible break. I love that guy. I wish the best for J.K. Dobbins, who joins the Denver Broncos. Speaking of former Ravens, Willie Snead, former wide receiver, is with the Chargers. Of course he is, on a veteran tryout. He's catching punts, as Chris Rim, friend of the show, noted, ESPN reporter for the Chargers, with Ladd McConkey and Darius Davis. That was yesterday. There he is, rocking number 7 at Chargers camp. And there he is on the left, I love Willie. Willie's a great guy. Willie Snead, trying to sneak his way back into the NFL, trying out in minicamp form or OTAs. I'm not sure if it's OTAs or minicamp at this point for the Chargers in terms of their offseason program, but there he is, trying to get himself back in with an NFL team. Elsewhere, Ravens Productions tweeted out a simple little clip here of defensive backs getting work in. And I just love watching Nate Wiggins, man. He just kind of floats and glides. Look at how smooth he is laterally. Look at the footwork. I just get the sense that 2 is primed for a massive sophomore season. There's 24. That's Malachi Starks, the rookie, of course. But look at the fluidity with Nate Wiggins. It's just so fluid. It's so effortless. And there's Malachi as well. They're going to be running mates, different positions, of course. 1 corner, 1 safety, but 2 young players who could very well help shape the future of Baltimore's secondary. Future of Baltimore's offense, in a lot of ways, speaking to the wide receiver position, has everything to do with the complementary duo that is Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman, who've been getting work in together. Con Clips on Instagram put together this little mashup in the form of an Instagram reel. Rashad reposted it. I ended up seeing it during my power hour prep, getting ready for today's show. It's Bate and it's Zay getting in work together. Again, don't know where this is. Looks to be South Florida. If it is, good for Bate, who spends the majority of his offseason elsewhere. But there they are, gearing up for yet another season. Over 1,000 yards for Rashad. Or excuse me, perhaps for Rashad on deck if he goes nuclear. But over 1,000 yards for Zay for the first time in his young career a season ago. And over 700 for Rashad, including 9 total touchdowns. Can they back that up? Time will tell. Good stuff there from Con Clips on Instagram. Our patrons today, Devin Conway, brother of Kelsey Conway, who covers the Bengals. And if you were listening closely in that Shamar Stewart clip, you could hear her asking questions as a beat reporter for the Cincinnati Enquirer. Devin Conway and Major Offense, we appreciate you both for all the love. Thank you for the consistent support that you give us through Patreon. It's patreon.com/RavensVault podcast. If you're interested in learning more about what we're offering over there, you can click join to become a Vault channel member today. When I went back over to Quick Hits a few moments ago, we left off at 714. And I believe that we left off with Parkite's Profit about 10 minutes ago. So that means not a fan who's celebrating 3 months of channel membership. And this is kind of the cool feature, I think, that channel membership and gift giving provides. Because when you randomly gift channel memberships, you're giving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, however many you're choosing to gift. You're giving our subscribers, a chance to not only get a free month, essentially free on your dime, of channel membership and everything that comes with it, but you're also giving them a chance to renew that membership after that free month. And I just think that's a really cool feature that YouTube provides. And so Not a Fan is flexing exactly that right now. He's a channel member. Every single month he gets, it's essentially a super chat opportunity. And Steve writes, I donate to this channel because I genuinely appreciate the work that you and Sarah do, Bobby. On top of that, it's like a second family in the chat. Yo, I got to be careful here. Love y'all, mother flockers. Thank you, Steve. And I continue to talk about the community that, yes, on a daily basis is this channel, is this live chat, is what we've been so lucky and fortunate to cultivate. But then the beauty of it is once it's over, once the live stream is over, it seems as if there's starting to be a very similar community form in the Discord group. And so I think this is a good time for me to just show you quickly, just in case you haven't joined it yet, what the Discord server consists of, because it is a 24/7 hub for conversations surrounding Baltimore sports. And I, for one, think it's a great place to interact with other like-minded Baltimore sports fans, I try to get involved as much as I possibly can, as much as time allows me to do. Mike, literally at the start of the show, apparently has no power because of a severe thunderstorm. Wherever this office is, just know, I hope his employer knows that Mike's mine, okay? From 12 to 1:30 Eastern, Monday through Friday, Mike is mine. By the way, I owe Mike and everybody else a kiss, by the way. Whether it's on the cheek or lips. It's going to be a big fat kiss for all the gifts that we got today. But Holly and Jabbo and Evan, I mean, look at this. There's just constant chatter in here. Pre-show, mid-show, post-show. This was hilarious from Emery, by the way, friend of the show. Jameis Winston zooming in on the picture. This was hilarious. Go check it out. I love Emery. We got to have him on again at some point. But anyway, basically, it's free. It's 24/7 hub for conversations surrounding Baltimore sports. We talk Ravens football, Orioles baseball, Caps hockey. I don't know, merch. This swag showcase is going to be big for our merch line that we're dropping later this summer. You can just talk general stuff like my dating life. You get an update or a shout out when you join. So Jumpman69 became, why 69, Jumpman? Huh? Let us know. But he became member number 833. So what I'll do is, if you're interested in joining, you can join right here by clicking on the link that I'm dropping into the live chat right now. It's a great place to continue essentially all the live chatter and a lot of the, let's be honest, a lot of the out of pocket, you know what, that takes place in there, led by the king of out of pocket, you know what, and that is my guy, Eye of Horus Taurus. Okay. He's Mr. Matter of fact, he's Mr. Out of Pocket. Mr. Out of Pocket. Texas's finest. Ash Marie gets us to 7:15. Thank you, Ash, for your gift today. By the way, for those of you counting, gosh, we almost had 100 gift day. We started at 618. There's still a chance we get to that 100 figure. But yeah, 618 is where we started. 715 is where we currently sit. So an unbelievable display today of generosity from you guys. And obviously it goes without saying, you guys are the best. Park Heights Profit hits us with a $10 super chat and a yellow banner and writes, "You all are pushing me today, LOL. What are we going to do on game day? Woo." And for those asking, catch me in Lot G for the Monday Night Football game against Detroit. Fried fish, smoked pork tenderloins, scotch, and cigars. That might be enough for me to pull up and straight up show up with a remote setup, because that sounds incredible. Park Heights Profit, inviting everybody, all 684 people at this current moment watching, to his Lot G Monday Night Football tailgate. Lions and Ravens. Should be a friggin' awesome game. Yes to this, and I can't remember how I pronounce your first name. Is it Azriel? Azriels? Hopefully I'm not completely botching that. But let's go with Rory. Yes, I did get your, I think, was it a super chat or a gift that you donated yesterday? It came in after the show was over. So this is me acknowledging you. I appreciate you. Thanks for the love. Danny G23, who's a channel member, says, "Not a fan. Appreciate the gift. Keep grinding, Bobby." Appreciate you, Danny. And thanks to Steve for the gift that ultimately made Danny now a new channel member. This is great. Trey Dog says, "If Bobby's trying to kiss me, I'm a dog walk him." You get 2 kisses then. 2 smooches. I look forward to that too. Thank you to Baltimore County Golf for the opportunity to sponsor us. They're probably thinking, why did we choose to sponsor this guy again? He's trying to kiss his entire audience. What's wrong with this guy? Trav Lowe just became the newest channel member, or excuse me, the newest Discord member, by the way, just a short while ago. So we're now at 834. Appreciate that. Taurus, if you're not careful, you're going to get a big smooch from me as well. All right. Remember, single and 30 tends to muddy your mind a little bit. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Baltimore County Golf, for the opportunity to sponsor us, for the opportunity to work with them. If you haven't already done so, please click on the link that's included in the show notes and in the pinned comment. I would love for you to enter yourself in for a shot at $350 in credit that can be directly used at the Fox Hollow Training Center in Baltimore County. That's going to be a new golf club, new golf clubs, depending on what you're looking at and how much money you want to spend. And on top of that, they're going to give you a 30-minute custom fitting. So essentially what's happening right now is you can enter yourself in to this Father's Day contest, and we'll pick a winner and give it to you on Friday. By the way, Katie just became a Discord member as well. So everybody's hopping on the Discord server channel right now, which is awesome. But what I'm telling you is, if you're looking for a last-minute Father's Day gift, this is a great opportunity. And you can enter yourself in once a day between now and the end of day tomorrow. That's Thursday. And then I will randomly select a winner coming up on Friday. So I look forward to that. I appreciate you guys, as always, for all the love. What an unbelievable display of generosity today. Again, we started we got 97 new channel members today because of gifts. And there were a couple ones that actually became channel members themselves. But we started at 6:18. We finished at 7:15. And I really appreciate it. And we finished at 7:16 because Tila wants one more on the way out. Remember, these things reset every single day. So while we finish today at 7:16, it might be like, I don't know, maybe like 7:13 or something by the start of tomorrow. So perhaps 800 is in the cards. Perhaps, I can't say, if we get to 1,000, I can't say 1,100. Like, that's not going to work. So that's a problem. I'll miss that. But it goes without saying, thank you so much for an awesome Wednesday. Be on the lookout for our repurposed content in short form that'll be dropping at 4 p.m. Eastern, courtesy of our new editor, Brendan, who's been doing a great job for us. Park Heights Prophet hits us with a super chat on the way out here. Says, Bobby, come to Baltimore and set up a preseason meetup, maybe the first preseason game, the official Voltron weekend. We do have to get something on the cards. August is insane for me. I'm going to be in Vegas, by the way, for I'm really looking forward to it. You guys may, for those of you channel OGs, you know that I've worked with Circa Las Vegas, which is about 10 minutes off the strip before. It's a fantastic casino and resort. And Jake Asman and I, who covers the Jets, and we do all of our travels together in the offseason for the Super Bowl and the combine and everything. He and I are going to be out there together, and I'm really looking forward to that and all the live viewership and live content that we have planned for you. So, yes, we will figure something out, PHP, for sure. I actually have a call with Be More Around Town coming up later this week to kind of flesh out what fall is going to look like, being that I am no longer in the Baltimore area, at least for the time being, and obviously going down to St. Pete. And I will tell you that the Tampa Bay Ravens flock, I am going back and forth with them via email, and a guy named Chris Correa, who lives down there and is the head of the Tampa Bay Ravens flock. And I think we're going to have a chance to partner up together. I'm really looking forward to that. Mike says, speaking of golf, you watching Stick on Apple TV? I am not. Oh, is it Full Swing? Is that what you're talking about? What's Stick? No, I haven't figured that. I haven't watched that. I don't watch much, to be honest with you. Unless I'm sick and have the Buffalo Plague and just start binging The Wire. I really don't watch TV because I can't sit still because I'm running a business, baby. And we're building something here. I appreciate you guys so much for an awesome Wednesday. Thank you. Thank you for a great day. Like the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified of when we're dropping our daily live content. I will be live coming up later this afternoon. There's a 2:30 press conference at One Winning Drive. This will wrap up the next couple days of organized team activities. And then next week on the 17th, mandatory minicamp begins. So needless to say, there is a lot to get to. I appreciate each and every one of you. Kisses to come. For Baltimore County Golf, our tremendous sponsor, and for my co-host and partner who is on vacation enjoying herself, Sarah Ellison, I'm Bobby Trossett signing off from this Wednesday Ravens Lunch Hour live stream. I'll be back with you in under 23 hours from right now for a Thursday edition. And Voltrons, as always, you know I'm going to be enjoying scrolling back up on these comments in the live chat, and I look forward to doing exactly that as soon as I press end stream, which I'm doing right now. Appreciate you guys. Later.